This is From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Each week, Janice shares her wisdom to enlighten, educate, and advance the culture in America today. Janice Pons is a mother, author, and free thinker, and your host for our podcast this evening. Now let's join your host, Janice Pons.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Janice Pons. I am the host on our podcast, From Destruction to Dignity, Clinical Perspective, Spiritual Truths. Listen, we're going to keep going in all the way in because we're going somewhere and it's expecting us when we get there. As we tackle all these issues that affect us as Americans, we're going to continue to pray for each other. I don't give 2 cents about political parties. I care about America and any political party that is contributing to the well-being and the safety of America. That's who I'm supporting. So I have a particular heart towards the ones that are living paycheck to paycheck, barely making ends meet. And we want them to continue to improve. That was 78% of us in 2024. Then in 2025, it went down to 65%. We're going to keep monitoring those numbers. It's kind of still hovering around that. But I believe by the end of this year in 2026, and if we win, the conservatives, those that really love America and are not against capitalism, 2026, we're just going to go to another level. We will, in going into 2027 and into the presidential campaign of 2028. We're in a place in our nation that we've never been before because the fraudulent scams and the money laundering fronts have been shut down. Let's just start there. So we're going to keep moving forward. There's a lot going on. So we have spoken loud and clear. There are those of us that are going to stand up for our nation and tell the truth. We're going to cry loud and we're going to spare nothing. And we had an election where we had a GOP trifecta. We're grateful for, and we've been going in a totally different direction. The fraudulent scams and the money laundering fronts have been addressed, and they will continue to be addressed because the covers have been snatched off. So tonight we're going to examine something that has generated a lot of discussion in our nation: gaslighting America. Gaslighting America. Things are going to heat up. There's going to be continued efforts to gaslight us, but it's going to tie into our clinical perspective of setting boundaries. Because when you are being gaslit, you will learn to set boundaries and take care of yourself, or you will show up, you will continue to subject yourself and enable abuse. Because gaslighting is majorly abusive. So let's dive in. And we're going to tie it into our country and the dynamics thereof. This gaslighting is all, it has to do with your emotions, your mind, your thought processes, your mind, your soul. Your soul is accosted. Your soul is your mind, your will, your emotions, your intellect, your drive, and your desires. And it gets totally seized when gaslighting is going on. So let's dive in. The governor and mayor in Minneapolis, Minnesota are diabolical liars who have been trying to, they tried to immediately distract the nation away from the abuse of government funds and government power that no longer continues in Minnesota. It's been shut down. Thank you, President Trump, and thank you, Marco Rubio. Thank you for the leadership of the Trump administration. Thank you for accountability. Thank you for what you've done. In Minnesota, this isn't leadership that we've seen there. It's selective outrage. They say, well, as the leaders of Minneapolis, we're this and we're that. Listen, we're not seeing effective leadership. It's selective outrage designed to change the subject from the billions upon billions of dollars lost to fraud on their watch. Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey have continually been in front of cameras on several occasions. Once Renee Good lost her life. I am so sorry that lady lost her life. I am so sorry she lost her life. I'm sorry that she was blocking ICE efforts. I'm sorry that she had her car obstructing traffic. I'm sorry that she did that. And the interaction led from one thing to another, as her partner, the woman that was with her, told her, drive, baby, drive, told her to drive off. And the ICE agent was standing right in front of the vehicle. We've seen the video. People said, no, he wasn't. Yes, he was. Stop gaslighting us. Gaslighting tries to change our reality. We saw what we saw. And he suffered, her vehicle hit him. He suffered internal bleeding. And he defended himself. So they incessantly blast the Trump administration and disparagingly blast ICE agent while posting tributes to Miss Good on social media. Now, I have a question. Were news conferences done or outrage displayed for the Minnesotans who lost their lives as a result of the actions of illegal immigrants? Did Governor Walz, Minnesota, Minneapolis, Minnesota Mayor Frey, or Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan express concerns for Victoria Eileen Harwell when she was struck by an intoxicated Ecuadorian who was here illegally? Why did Hennepin County refuse to honor a detainer and they released him twice? Why? Because did they just come over here and do whatever they want to do? Was there an outcry when St. Paul, Minnesota native Haley Helgeson, 18 years old, along with her 19-year-old boyfriend, Brady Hilling, was there outrage when they were traveling in Wisconsin and they were struck head-on by a drunk driver traveling the wrong way on the highway who was an illegal immigrant from Honduras? Was there an outcry then? Did they get on CNN? Did they get on the news? Did they go on and on with their social media postings about them? I'm grateful for Haley, who was an active member of Salem Lutheran Church, where she shared her faith and joy. She was an outstanding young woman, based upon my research of her. She's very open about her faith, and she was very joyous. And she taught in Vacation Bible School. Her faith played an important role in her life, and every morning she would exchange Bible verses with her boyfriend, Brady. She also worked as a teaching assistant at Hawk's Nest and had recently, before she lost her life, begun a position at Meadow Creek Assisted Living. But she's gone. She and her boyfriend, Brady, they're gone. They lost their lives at the hand of an illegal immigrant. What we're seeing is classic gaslighting, guys, by Tim Walz, the mayor of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and the Democratic Party, as they go on and on and on. It is classic gaslighting by Democrats in Minnesota. Minnesota Democrats decide which victims matter based on politics and optics, not on equal application of the law. Oh no, it's quite obvious. We gotta cry loud and spare nothing. We gotta tell the truth. We gotta call a spade a spade. When a tragedy fits their narrative, we get press conferences and performative vigils. When Minnesotans are killed in situations tied to their failed federal immigration policy, we hear almost nothing, no urgency, no accountability, just silence and deflection. ICE's arrests prevent recidivism, guys. True story. And it makes communities safer. But you know what what we've had going on in the country? They've got apps that track ICE agents. And there's been an 8,000% increase of them being put in harm's way, being attacked. That's ridiculous. But their first priority is getting illegal criminals out of our nation, those who've already been convicted of accosting the bodies. The four-letter word starting with an A-R. Middle consonant P, ending vowel E. They're getting them off the streets. They've taken the lives of Americans, guys. Go on my page and see the pages of the faces. Okay, there's pages and pages of pages, guys, that are available of law enforcement officers, ministers, citizens, children that have lost their lives at the hands of these people who were already convicted felons. And you got to remember, it just blew me away when I realized that the Obama-Biden-Harris cabal had paroled people out of prisons in Haiti, Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua and brought them in here. They ought to be put in prison themselves for what they did. At least that demonic, diabolical agenda on our nation. And President Trump, that's what he walked into. Guys, it's a mess. ICE arrest is focused on getting those people. And what does it do? It does prevent recidivism, and it makes communities safer. But it feels like local politicians want to ignore that part and condone. And Miss Good, she was involved in a network that was teaching parents in the school system where her son went to school on how you do this. How you do this. How you warn people, ICE is coming, and that involve apps. And these guys, why do they have their faces covered up, guys? It's to protect their identity. It's not that they're some Gestapo thugs, as the Democrats are saying they are. They have their faces covered up, and they even got a network where they have found pictures of these ICE agents' children. This is nonsense. And so you had Don Lemon and his crew going in a church, disrupting service. Oh yeah, they've been people being, I hope they get them all. That is not acceptable. We do not go in people's churches and disrupt their services. They are there to worship God as they understand God to be. We wouldn't even think that, to go inside a church. That's private property. Get those people arrested. And they have been, and I hope they're held to the highest degree of accountability. Guys, ICE is there to keep us safe, but these local politicians want to ignore that part. They want to lie. They want to drum up discontent rather than protect their own constituents. Regardless of the staged political theatrics, ICE is going to continue to arrest the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens in Minnesota and all over the nation. All over the nation. Get them all. What they have been doing to us as a nation is gaslighting. What is gaslighting? It's a form of psychological manipulation where someone makes a person doubt their own reality, memories, or sanity, often to gain what? Control, leading to confusion, anxiety, and low self-esteem. It involves distorting the facts, denying experiences, trivializing feelings, and twisting events until the victim questions their own perceptions and becomes dependent on the abuser for validation. Now, we've segued into our clinical perspective here. Gaslighting, and it's the gaslighting of America. Now, clinical perspective is on how do you set boundaries when this stuff is going on. So we've got to recognize when it's going on. Gaslighting goes on in churches. It goes on in ministries. It goes on jobs. It goes on in marriages. It goes on in families. But guys, I don't participate. I've been gaslit to the highest degree. I have learned to set healthy boundaries. And I'm not showing up for your abuse. If I never go to a church, if a church starts gaslighting, I'm out. I'll never do it. I experienced it. It was horrible. It was abusive. It was wicked. It was diabolical. And it goes on. We can do better. We can do better. So what are some common gaslighting tactics? Denial. D-E-N-I-A-L. Don't even notice I am lying. Denying things they said or did, even when proof is there. Lying. Denial. Don't even notice I'm lying. D-E-N-I-A-L. D for don't. E for even. N for notice. I for I. A for am. L for lying. Don't even notice I am lying. And they really don't. I've seen them become delusional. It's like, do you hear what you're saying? What are you talking about? What? I didn't say that. What are you? Denying things they said or did, even with proof, saying, I never said that. Or you're just imagining things. Gaslighting. They've gaslit us as a nation. What about the feelings involved? Telling you that you're just being too sensitive or overreacting or making a big deal out of nothing. Insisting you remember things incorrect, that you just remembered incorrectly and you just got a bad memory. That's, sweetie, baby, that's not what happened. Lying, gaslighting. Diverting, refusing to listen, changing the subject or blocking conversation. Accusing you of being the one who's lying or confused. Here's some signs that you may have been gaslit. Constantly second-guessing yourself. Feeling confused, anxious, or crazy. Repeatedly apologizing even when you're not sure why you're doing it. Having trouble making simple decisions. Feeling like you've lost your sense of self. What's the impact of all of this? It erodes self-trust and confidence. It can lead to depression, anxiety, and emotional exhaustion. Guys, people just get exhausted. This goes on in churches, jobs, relationships, marriages. You just get emotionally exhausted. And it doesn't have to be. And then what it's designed to do is to increase dependency on the abuser. Gaslighting is a serious form of emotional abuse, often seen in abusive relationships, but it can also occur in families, friendships, the workplaces, ministries, and in churches. In the midst of these types of dynamics, what would happen if we embrace the power of setting boundaries? So let's consider this as a part of our clinical perspective. We're just thinking out loud. Setting healthy boundaries involves protecting your well-being, fostering healthier relationships, and enabling personal growth by defining your limits for time, energy, and emotional space. When you're involved in things, there is commitment involved, but it's got to be a balance or you'll lose yourself. What are your limits? For time, energy, emotional space, preventing burnout, resentment, and exploitation while building self-respect and clearer communication. Boundaries aren't walls. They're essential guidelines that allow you to say no. And I remember when God had me to say this to somebody, they wouldn't accept my no. Wearing me out. He said, this is what you need to go say. He told me. And I said, excuse me. I need to notify you of something. I keep telling you no, but you keep pushing the envelope. And I just have a question for you. Yeah, what is it? What is it that you don't understand? The N or the O? Oh, I'm sorry. And never, don't say, oh, well, that's okay. No, it's not okay. I accept your apology. Don't let people off the hook, guys. I accept your apology and move on. Remember boundaries. We're talking about setting boundaries. What's involved? Boundaries, they're not walls. They're essential guidelines that allow you to say no to what drains you so you can say yes to what truly aligns with your values, leading to greater fulfillment and control over whose life? Your life. Guys, what have we looked at? Gaslighting America and the clinical perspective. Setting boundaries. Guys, we've been all over the place. This nation has been gaslit. Churches are gaslit. Ministries are gaslit. Families are subjected to gaslighting. Workplaces are subjected to gaslighting. I believe in wellness. I believe in boundaries. I believe in strategy, skills, and tools, a way of thinking where we take care of each other. But you can't take care of each other if you don't take care of yourself. Ask me how I know. Guys, I love talking about this because you know what it does? It empowers us. It's a way of thinking, guys. It's just learning how to think out loud, how to process, how to evaluate, how to problem solve, how to really locate where we are. Guys, we're one nation under God. We're indivisible with liberty and justice for all as we go from destruction to dignity. That gaslighting of America was a destructive pattern, and it was real. And we had Americans that senselessly lost their lives in 2020, 42. And I know of 2 cases where there's been any accountability. Gaslighting of America. It was the gaslighting of America, and it's gone on over and over and over again. But we can empower ourselves as citizens to choose healthier ways of thinking and processing and supporting each other and loving one another. Oh yeah, we can. We can do something different because why? Are we worth it? Absolutely. Our children are worth it. I'm worth it. You're worth it. Why? We're one nation under God. God is a God of order. We were messed up all over the place. Dysfunction, hurting people, letting these people come in here and run roughshod over us. Guys, God wasn't in it. Nope. Are we supposed to help people? Absolutely. But it has to be done decently and in order. We serve a God of order, not a God of confusion. All that confusion that was going on was from the pit of hell. But we're one nation under God. We're indivisible with liberty and justice for all. As we continue to go together, we're going somewhere. It's expecting us when we get there. We got an election this year. We've got to win. So we've got to inform people. I'm coming over here. I'm going to keep crying loud and sparing nothing. I've messed around and got older. I don't care what people think about me because I'm practicing my constitutional right by what I do here. And I love America. We need influencers like me, Kimberly Blakes, Doc Drake, I think that's his name. Is this his wife, Carolyn? Kimberly, you can correct me if I'm missing it. April Chapman, Brian Logan, Patrick Hampton. I could go on. Will Johnson, Brandon Tatum. People, we just got, guys, people that are balanced. We got to have the balanced voice. And if you forget the God factor, you're missing it. Oh, yeah, we got to have the God factor in there, too. Because we're one nation under God, indivisible with liberty and justice for all. As we continue to go from where? Destruction to dignity, clinical perspective, strategy, skills, tools, a way of thinking, going there, examining our mind. What's in our soul? Our soul is our mind, our will, our emotions, our intellect, our drive, and our desires. And it can get real toxic and get turned upside down. But God has a better way. I'm going to keep pressing in. I'm going to be talking about these things. We're worth it. I love this nation. I love you all. Thank you for your support. Thank you for sharing the podcast. We will be back next week as we continue to dissect these things because we are worth it. And we're going to keep going forward because we're going somewhere. I keep saying it. And boy, these Trump accounts, you talking about going somewhere and it's expecting us when we get there? Men, step up to the plate and get the facts. and share it with others. I'll see you guys next week. Good night.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Janice's mission is to provoke thought, bring awareness, and point people towards intervention when needed. As a reminder, this show is not therapy, but for educational purposes only. For more information, check out JanicePons.com or follow her on social media.
We are God empowered, strength is ours, liberty, been set free, education, affirmation, dedication, information, revelation.